Hello, and welcome to the College of Creation. My name is Dan.
And my name is Michael.
And my name is John.
That's right. As promised, we had we have a guest today, John, good friend and player of Michael's, here to join us and make some cool stuff. John, it's a pleasure to have you. How are you doing?
Doing all right. We just got back in from a friend's wedding in Utah. So we got home back in Indianapolis about midnight last night.
Wonderful. Hopefully you had plenty of time to work on the creation before you got home from the trip.
Yeah. It was a weird mixture of just random notes that I had been scrawling on my phone. And so like on the plane, in the airport, downtime while we were there, like just random thoughts that today, quite frankly, I have been putting them all in something that actually made sense. It was all there, but today it finally got put all on one page.
I can't tell you how many times that's how it actually happens. It's just chunks of thought until the day of recording, and I scramble to put it all together.
That is just so much the thing. I mean, all of the best ideas come to you in the places where it is the least convenient for them to come to you. You're in the shower, you're driving, or you're on public transit, and just like, I have a notes app. I do not have all of the data in front of me, but this is the best idea that I've had in a week. So yeah, that's great. That's great. For the listener, we will remind you, we were tasked this week with making food or cooking-based subclasses. All kinds of options there. We've made food items before with a different guest, with Justin and Taylor from So You Want to Be a DM, but we're tackling a full subclass this time around, and no spoilers, but it does appear that all three of us have made a subclass for a different base class, which is that was the big worry, that we were going to have too much crossover, but I think we got it, guys.
Well, I think here's the thing about food and cooking, and I mentioned it a little bit at the tail end of the last episode. There's just enough already in the game to make it difficult to like really make like a chef or like somebody who like cooking is their thing. Like the chef feat exists, so it's like you're really kind of treading on that feat if you go in that direction, unless you're hyper specific or you have a really good idea. Because the chef feat isn't, really robust or anything like that. But there are a bunch of different crafting rules now for 2024. So it's hard to really pinpoint something that making something is the only thing that they do. And thinking that way, I thought so little about the base class this week.
Yeah, kind of same.
I ended up picking one at the last minute because I thought that it probably fit the best. And I did end up tying one feature to a class feature, but only because that was the feature of the class that I chose. I think it probably could have fit on 5 or 6 other classes and been okay.
That was actually where I struggled the most, was on the class.
Yeah.
I told you guys I had pivoted several times. This was the third class that I tried to place it into and nothing felt right.
That's interesting. What were your hurdles with the other 2 classes? Without giving too much away.
Yeah. So for background, Michael, I don't know if we ever got into it. I'm a trained chef. That is what I actually originally went to school for.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
That'll make for a very good time.
when I gave you guys this prompt, I already had something in mind. It actually came to me after you guys did that food episode. The first thing I tried to do was a wizard. Thinking of just, like a magical wizard. Had a whole thematic thing of, your spell book becomes a recipe book. Your components pouch is an ingredients pouch. And every time I tried to approach it, it didn't want to fit. And I went into it with kind of a notion I almost wanted to do 2 subclasses. One that was intelligence-based and one that was wisdom-based. With intelligence-based being more baking, because it's very scientific and precise. Or wisdom is cooking, just going with your gut. Does it look done? Does it smell right? And could not find the right flavor for it, pun intended.
It's tough. I mean, I ended up going through a lot of stuff, but I think you're right, Michael, that there's a gap there, but it's a very narrow gap. So it's tight to get into because you can do a lot with flavor. Like I read through the eponymous College of Creation subclass and think how easy it would be to just make that a chef, right? Just with flavor alone, you're all of these different additional effects that your inspiration can grant to people depending on what check they use it for. That's all kinds of different treats and snacks and things that you might be cooking along the way. I think that is a lot you can do with flavor. A ranger with the chef feat, you can just flavor that like crazy and go full wilderness survivalist with the bare bones of what's available to you when you're out camping and stuff like that.
My good berries are now cherry tarts.
Yeah. So I kind of I definitely had that same issue of I had to find, I think, more of a niche thing to move in the direction of rather than trying to capture the concept of cooking as a whole.
Yes.
Because I think that's a bit more of a challenge, but tackling something niche ended up being a lot more fruitful, all things considered for me. But before we get too deep into it, I do want to know and give you a little bit of time here, John, to tell us kind of about yourself, about your journey within tabletop role-playing games, and within creating homebrewing or creating more broadly outside of tabletop role-playing games and into other creative fields.
Creative fields, we'll start. That's actually where I met Michael, 15 years ago? Something like that.
About, yeah. A long time ago.
About 15 years ago. At different universities, we actually both sang in all-male a cappella groups that wore purple. And so, of course, we were immediately friends of you wear purple, we wear purple, we're best friends.
Obviously, we're going to hang out.
That's pretty much how it went. But then as far as tabletop, 2013, 2014, first time I actually played D&D. And I learned on 3.5, then started playing 4. Once we got a little more well-versed into 5th, started DMing, quite frankly, because I wanted to play more. And it was a matter of, if I'm willing to do this, then I can play more. Because nobody else wanted to.
I can do it as often as I want.
Yeah, that's often how it goes.
I think we have similar origins, yeah.
Yeah.
But had a player who was also very well-versed and quickly realized that, I don't want to say they were abusing their knowledge, but they were abusing their knowledge. And so I realized if I made it up, they don't know what it is. Well, how hard is this to homebrew, 2 or 3 things a session? And now I look at my Google Drive and folders and everything that I have compiled over 10 years, and it's added up.
It sure does add up after a while.
Well, I think it's so crazy how slowly and quickly that type of thing happens. Because I think just for this show, we've been doing this just over a year, and I feel like I've made thousands of things just for these prompts. And then the whole universe of things that I've homebrewed, it feels like an uncountable amount of things that I've made. And I know that there's a way to quantify it, but it's hard to wrap my head around it sometimes.
For sure.
The actual amount of stuff that comes out of a dungeon master's brain, whether intentionally or not.
Yeah, it almost becomes second nature at a point once you get to a level of familiarity with a game, and I feel like, especially, I'm sure you can speak to this, John, but especially with 5e being a little bit more, in a lot of ways has that looseness to allow homebrew more easily. I especially talk about homebrewing in the moment, right? It's pretty easy once you understand those frameworks to if you need something in a session, to throw something together that is mechanically sound at the very least, if not anything else. And I know in older editions, things were maybe a little more complicated and you had to take more time to make sure that it was going to interact effectively with everything else. But everything has its little quirks and things, and the more you know it, the better it is, the easier it is.
Yeah, and I would certainly agree that 5e did a great job of, here's the foundation, here's the blocks. What color do you want to paint them? Where do you want the window?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the house.
I think more so with 2014 than 2024 now, but the big complaint before the update was that there were so many holes, and I think that at least partially, I'm sure not fully intentionally, but partially that was done with a reasonable amount of intent, because of how much game masters tend to create things in the moment and fill those holes naturally with their players in mind.
Yeah. Well, speaking of filling up things like bellies, shall we talk about some food?
Excellent segue.
Was that a smooth transition, Michael? Did we like that one?
So smooth. Wonderful transition. Well, I think we should all roll a d20, and highest goes first.
Yes, I'm thrilled to see what everyone came with. Ended up with a 10 here, boys.
I rolled a 9.
That's an 8.
Oh, do we have a 10, a 9, and an 8?
What? All right, Dan, you are leading us off tonight, my friend.
I guess I'm up first. I thought for a moment about going a little bit onto the darker side and making like a barbarian that ate monster parts to gain powers from the monsters. It seems cool, but maybe was just like not the vibe for today. So I ended up leaning into the more whimsical, the more lighter side of my creation urges from time to time, and went with a subclass that I haven't made for the show yet. I don't believe that I have made a cleric. You can go back into the files and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've made a cleric.
Neither of us have. This is the first cleric on the show.
Well, the first cleric on the show, here it is. So you guys can both open up your document for the dairy domain, or the domain of dairy here. A proponent of the Dairy Queen, if you will. Who can resist the siren song of the ice cream jingle? Who can deny the joy on a child's chocolate-smeared face in the dead heat of summer? Who can name a treat quite so varied in flavor and satisfying in consumption as custard and milk frozen to creamy perfection? None, say the clerics of the domain of dairy, whose purpose is to spread delight and a respite from the heat to all who need it. So we've got ourselves a lovely little dairy queen here. Your connection to the domain of dairy grants you a bunch of spells, of course, as clerics are wont to have at 3rd level and going on. So you get Calm Emotions, a Fog Cloud for that icy burst of mist as you open up the freezer door, little Goodberry for a cherry on top, and Snillic's Snowball Swarm if you're feeling more of a water ice or a freezy pop or something like that. You also get Hypnotic Pattern for the sort of way that song from the ice cream truck sort of gets and digs into your mind a bit, and Slow. Charm Monster, because who doesn't like a little bit of ice cream? Freedom of Movement, because, when things are a little icy, they're a little slick. You can move about a bit quicker. And then Cone of Cold was the last one that I put on there, and there is not another good 5th level spell that I liked here, so I am still thinking about it. But nothing was feeling right, so I left it blank for now. But I feel like Cone of Cold is a pretty beefy one to get for free anyway. And then at level 3, you also get the Brain Freeze feature. When you deal damage to a creature with a cleric spell, you can give that creature disadvantage on its next attack roll. If its next attack misses, the creature immediately takes cold damage equal to your wisdom modifier, and its turn immediately ends.
Ooh, okay.
You can use this feature to affect a number of creatures equal to your proficiency bonus, and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
That's a great feature.
Yeah, just like cut off someone's turn early as they get a little brain freeze, stops them in their tracks for a moment. Additionally, you get a use of Channel Divinity. That will be Merry Melody. As a magic action, you expend a use of your channel divinity to manifest a charming, repetitive song that can be heard within 120 feet of you and lasts for 1 minute or until you end it as a free action. Each creature of your choice in that area that can hear the song must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failure, a creature is charmed by you for the duration of the song and must use its turn to move toward you by the shortest available route.
Calling all the kids from the neighborhood.
There is, in our apartment complex that we live in, there's this wonderful little open space in the center of the buildings that, it's where all the parking lots are. But there's also green space here in the center. But there's a nice ring of road around it. And an ice cream truck comes around every single day at roughly the same time every day, somewhere between like 7 and 8. In fact, it just went by shortly after we began recording, and we'll just make a loop around. And so every night we hear the dulcet tones of Turkey in the Straw, and it's a great time. So some inspiration from real life taken there. But at level 6, we get an upgrade to the Brain Freeze feature. First of all, you gain resistance to cold damage, so this is called Deep Freeze. And additionally, when a creature's failed attack roll triggers your Brain Freeze feature, it also becomes incapacitated until the beginning of its next turn.
Wow. Okay.
A little beefed up.
Yeah.
Still limited in usage, and also still obviously requires that they miss on a disadvantaged attack roll, which may or may not happen. Nothing is guaranteed here, but just a little bit empowered for the Brain Freeze feature. And then at level 17, I started to go with something kind of boring, and then I decided that I would just go hard on this one and just go ham.
Yeah,
leaned into the level 17 feature, the Ice Cream Man. You can use a magic action to create an Ice Cream Man. The Ice Cream Man shares your initiative count, but takes its turn immediately after yours. As a bonus action, you can command the Ice Cream Man to move and take an action. The Ice Cream Man melts after 1 hour. Once you use the feature, you cannot use it again until you complete a long rest. The Ice Cream Man itself has an AC of 13, 60 hit points, fairly middling stats. It's got good con, good strength, but otherwise not particularly intelligent or wise or anything like that. Has vulnerability to fire damage, of course, but is immune to cold damage and cannot be exhausted. It has a slightly weaker version of your Brain Freeze feature. So when a creature misses the Ice Cream Man with a melee attack, that creature must make a Constitution saving throw. And on a failed save, it takes 1d6 cold damage and its turn immediately ends. The Ice Cream Man also can make a multi-attack. It's got a slam attack that does some bludgeoning and some cold damage. And then it also has the Sprinkle Spray, which recharges on a 5 or a 6. And it just sprays out sprinkles, casting Color Spray, requiring no spell components, and using your Cleric spell save DC. There you go. The thing about Clerics is you don't have a lot of subclass features.
Really narrow, yeah.
Most of the way that you make your Cleric feel like it's subclass is through your spell choice and the other things that you choose. So this one is a nice little guide if you want to make an Ice Cream Man Cleric who's just around bringing joy to all the kids and freezing opponents in their tracks.
I always love when things pop up on this show that are crazy but also like mechanically viable. Like this is a solid Cleric that could tank. It could be a midline spellcaster, all while being whimsical and fun and not so serious. And that's great.
Yeah, appreciate that.
For mine today, this is the stupidest thing I've ever made.
I cannot wait.
Looking forward to it.
For the show or otherwise, this is the dumbest thing I've ever created.
Wonderful. Good.
Yeah, I really don't know how much introduction is going to make this any better or worse for the two of you. So I made a rogue today. If you would please open your document. I had no idea where to go this week. So this is where I landed.
Oh my goodness.
This is called Burger, a perfectly grilled roguish archetype. I'm just going to launch into this without further ado.
I mean, the art, though, is iconic. We can't not talk about the way that you formatted and designed this. What?
And I gotta
what?
say,
How did you
food
do
is about
this?
presentation.
So I tried to make this like a menu, tried to make it look kind of like a restaurant's menu.
Oh my gosh.
So it is multiple pages. Usually the things that I submit I try to keep it to one page for subclasses. This is like 4 pages.
This is absurd,
With a
Michael.
whole bunch of clip art.
The commitment to the bit is so good.
But this is called Burger. Cursed by the gods of culinary power, you must now live out your days as a sentient burger. You may not have legs anymore, but you're in complete control over your general composition, able to add condiments, switch out toppings, alter the sear on your patty, and more. You are a rogue. You are also a burger. Everything is burger.
I love that this feels just like it's just like an accidental typo. Like somebody meant to type burglar.
Yeah. This is one of those things, it's like change one letter in the spell that you're using and switch the usage.
Yep.
At level 3, you gain 2 features. The first one is called buns. Though
Straight face, Michael. Get through this.
I'm realizing now that I have not read this out loud yet. I just typed it. Though transforming into a burger has left you without legs, your magical buns can propel you no matter what situation you find yourself within. Your movement speed is reduced to 0 and replaced by a 30-foot hover speed.
Amazing.
While hovering, you remain between 3 and 5 feet off the ground and can't elevate yourself past that. If you hover above a liquid, you immediately lower down and float on its surface. So you can't walk anymore, but you can float. You are a hovering creature.
There you go. There you go.
Gotta get around.
Also at level 3, you gain the patty feature. The culinary magic coursing through you allows you to change your bodily makeup at will. You can take 10 minutes and focus on the cook temperature of your patty, altering its sear to your liking. You gain a passive benefit depending on your current sear from the options below. You can choose between rare, medium, and well done. If you are currently a rare patty, if another creature touches your bare skin, they must make a DC 12 Constitution saving throw or become poisoned for 1d6 hours.
Yeah, you're getting a little salmonella or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're touching raw meat. If you're medium, you have advantage on all charisma, performance, and persuasion checks because it's just a nicely cooked burger.
It's the proper way.
I'm just imagining this,
the proper cook.
this hamburger making a persuasion check.
Right? How do you do that? I don't know. That's up to the player to decide. Don't ever use this subclass. This is a bad subclass. It's not good. You can also choose the well done option, in which case you gain a +1 bonus to your armor class.
Beautiful.
You're just tough.
Makes sense.
You're overcooked. At level 9, you gain the toppings feature. This is an addition to your Cunning Strike feature, so I did tie this back to the Rogue class here. Your toppings don't just add color and texture. They can define how you use your sneak attack. You gain the following addition to your Cunning Strike feature. This is called the Fully Loaded Cunning Strike feature, and it can cost up to 3d6. That's damage taken off of your sneak attack. Whenever you finish a long rest, you choose 3 toppings. This costs 1d6 per topping chosen from the table below to add onto yourself. When you use this strike, the target must make a Constitution saving throw or suffer each corresponding effect to your chosen toppings. So I have 8 toppings below. This is totally usable as a D8 table if you'd like to do that. If you want to roll 3d8 at the end of every long rest and choose these randomly, that's totally fine. Or if you want to pick them consciously, also totally fine. Again, don't use this. This is a bad subclass. It doesn't make any sense. It's not usable. So I have bacon, cheese, ketchup, lettuce, mustard, onion, pickle, and tomato as usable toppings that you can add on to your body after you take a long rest. If you choose bacon, the target takes additional piercing damage until they use an action to remove bits of bacon from themselves. Cheese lowers target's movement speed. Ketchup makes targets slide an extra 10 feet after they stop their movement.
That's very funny.
I'm here for this.
Lettuce, this doesn't make sense for lettuce whatsoever. Lettuce, the target can't benefit from the hide or disengage actions until the end of your next turn. There's no correlation to
It's just got like a little bit of greenery stuck in its teeth, and so,
Yeah,
it's
I
just
guess that's
embarrassing.
exactly where I went.
It draws everybody's attention.
We'll say that. Yeah, that sounds great. Mustard, the target subtracts 1d6 from the damage of their next weapon or spell attack. Onion, the target becomes blinded until they take an action to wipe their eyes. Pickles, any amount of the damage you deal with this strike can be acid instead of the weapon's damage. So that can be
nice.
all or just one, however many you'd like. And tomato, the target makes their next intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw at disadvantage if it happens before the next turn. Again, I don't know why that's tomato. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. But that's what we went with. So yeah, just add some toppings and reap the benefits from your toppings. At level 13, you gain the plating feature. You've been granted a large plate on which you operate. The plate's aesthetics are up to you, and as an action, you can change the color and texture of the plate if you wish. With this extra support, you can now hover up to 10 feet off the ground. So this is increasing your initial level 3 feature.
A true flying saucer.
A true flying saucer, absolutely. Additionally, you are resistant to all damage targeted at you from below, such as thorns, caltrops, or dangerous liquids. So just a little bit of extra damage resistance.
Yeah, makes sense.
And at level 17, the capstone is called Combo. When you pair your abilities with those of your allies, the value increases. It's a value meal. Once per round, if a friendly creature uses the attack action, you can also use the attack action against the same target as a reaction. If this results in a sneak attack, your fully loaded feature costs 1d6 less out of your damage pool to use. This feature can be used a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses after a long rest. Also, I have a note down here at the bottom, which I felt compelled to add because this very fundamentally changes the makeup of your character pretty permanently. So I have a note here. While this subclass does permanently change your appearance and alter your movement, all species traits should remain intact for your character. Please don't get rid of those. You should still be able to fly if you're an owlin or an aarakocra or something. You have lettuce wings or however you want to flavor it.
It's a flying cheeseburger. It's great.
Yeah.
Like if you were a tiefling before, you still have your infernal lineage. Like keep all that stuff. You're just a burger now. Yeah, really dumb.
No joke. Really Although dumb. I will say, I think the combo feature, the level 17 feature, is legitimately a very good feature.
I think so too. We ended strong, yeah.
I think that is a cool thing that you could copy and paste onto an actually decent rogue subclass with the option of a different cunning strike option. And that would be a top tier feature.
I think so too.
So, you still know what you're doing. You just put it to use with this monstrosity.
It's true. Yeah, what an abomination.
You asked if you could and not if you should, Michael.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, what's the intersection between, like, Chuck E. Cheese animatronics and Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
Yeah.
Like where do those two things intersect? And this is where I ended up.
I love it. I think it's perfect. It's great. It's a good time.
Thank you. John, what do you have for us tonight?
So as I mentioned, I struggled a little bit to find one, and eventually settled on what became the Hospitable Bloodline. if you guys would like to open that up.
Lovely.
So, when looking at professionals within the field of hospitality, be it an innkeeper, the town brewer, or a renowned chef, it is often said that the willingness, fortitude, and resilience to do their work day in and day out is a labor of love and in their blood. As someone of a hospitable bloodline, you feel a sense of calm and clarity when performing a task that will result in the aid or improvement of someone else's experience. While it's possible to learn these skills and behaviors, they arrive naturally as someone of the hospitable bloodline, and with comparatively little time and focus, they can easily outshine others in their field.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good interpretation too of that. That's great. That's very cool. I considered like some kind of hearth cleric kind of thing, but like sorcerer suddenly feels really right with this.
Yeah, Pact of the Hearth was where I got very far into a warlock, and just like the wizard, it didn't feel right. So starting out as a member of the hospitable bloodline, you begin with a chef's kit that includes the essential items you would need to prepare items such as basic seasonings, a chef and paring knife, small wooden cutting board, and an iron skillet. And beginning at level 1, when you fall below half of your maximum hit points or are under a status effect that does not render you immobile, your movement speed increases by 10 feet.
Nice. Okay.
If any of you have worked in a restaurant before, in the weeds means you're slammed. It's bad. It's not looking good. You got to go.
No, that's perfect.
What a million tickets in the window. Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Moving on to level 3, we start looking at the meta magic that these sorcerers get. When you choose meta magic options, you automatically gain access to the following additional options in addition to the meta magic options of your own choosing. These recipe meta magic options can benefit you and up to X plus 1 others, where X is your spellcasting modifier. At level 6, that'll increase to X plus 2, level 10, X plus 4, and level 17, X plus 7.
Beefy.
So you start off just taking care of your party, 3, 4, 5 people, and eventually you're taking care of like a 10 top.
Yep. Love it.
So of your meta magic options, the first one is Good Eats. When you complete a long rest, you can spend 1 sorcery point to prepare one of the following meals. The benefit of this meal lasts for 12 hours. There are 2 options here. The first one is bacon and eggs. If you eat bacon and eggs, you will add 1 plus the sorcerer's spellcasting modifier to any 1 strength, dex, or constitution roll. The second one, avocado toast and black tea. Just like the first one, we're going to add 1 plus the sorcerer's spellcasting modifier, but this is going to go to any 1 intelligence, wisdom, or charisma roll. So really, you're just starting your day off with something good. So somewhere in your back pocket, you've got, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5 on a single roll for the bulk of the day.
Yeah, it's nice that it's consumable too. It's like, save it for when you really need it. It's not like this huge, long-lasting benefit, so that kind of balances it out, but it's still very much useful.
Yeah. Moving on to Flavortown. When you can complete a short rest, you can spend 2 sorcery points to prepare one of the following snacks. The benefit of this snack lasts for 3 hours. There are 2 snacks here. There's the 3-bean spicy burrito. Once, as a bonus action, you create an odor centered around yourself that has a 5-foot radius and a duration of 1 minute. Others who end their turn within the odor must succeed on a constitution roll against the sorcerer's spell save DC, or spend their next action gagging and retching from the odor.
Nice.
The other snack is the salty Bavarian pretzel and cheese. Once, when regaining hit points, you may add the sorcerer's spellcasting modifier to the hit points regained.
Wonderful. I think a lot of homebrewers' tendency when they are creating a chef or chef adjacent feature or subclass is to put like a table into place with a bunch of options that you can kind of choose from to make really interesting choice to add these as metamagic options. I think that is really novel. I've never seen anybody try and do that, and it fits really well because you can take it or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something that is optional to you. Why wouldn't you take it if you're going for the flavor of being the hospitable bloodline? But like you don't have to, and I think that is the difference between this and a lot of the other things that I've seen that I wanted to avoid doing, because it seemed like the only option for you was to do the things that they put in their table, and everything is kind of based around that. And this feels much more fluid. I like this a lot, John.
Okay, good, because there's more.
Perfect.
There's 2 more meta magic options I've added in. The next one, it's BAM. You can add, or you can spend 3 sorcery points to double your spell casting modifier on any one recipe.
Great.
So you kick it up a notch, you add some spice.
Kick it up a notch.
Get a little bit of Cajun seasoning on those that bacon and eggs.
And the 4th one, if I were being true to the source, there would be some vulgarity to it, but I wanted to be clean for your podcast. It's get it together.
There you go. Get it together.
As
We've
an
all seen
action,
the bear.
you may spend 4 sorcery points to loudly verbally berate/encourage a friendly character within 30 feet, giving them an additional action on their next turn.
Ooh, nice. Heavy cost though, but it's great. That's
A big cost for
a really big reward though in the right situation. That's huge. Yeah.
So moving on, that was just level 3. Level 6, improved fatigue and force feed. While In the Weeds is active, you now ignore difficult terrain and gain resistance to fire and psychic damage. When you are struck by a melee attack, you may use your reaction to make a melee spell attack. On a successful hit, you shove a magical biscuit into the target's mouth. The target is healed for 1d4 hit points and is unable to communicate verbally for X rounds while they chew the biscuit, where X is 1 plus your spellcasting modifier.
I like anything that like creatively takes away verbal components, because I think that's one, like a piece of the game that like there's only really functionally for a lot of player characters in a lot of parties. There's only one way around that, and that's a silent spell, which is not targeted. It's just it's an area of effect. They can move out of it. Like a smart enemy is not going to be deeply affected by that much. So like you have to figure out different ways to do it. So anytime something else comes up with a creative way to silence a foe that you want to be silent, I always go in for it. I'm a big fan.
Moving on, when you hit level 14, you are on the fly. When moving in the most direct path to a friendly target, you expend half the movement needed. And you may spend 3 sorcery points to allow a friendly target within 5 feet to take an action as a bonus action. So the last one, good help, because good help is hard to find. As an action, you may spend 6 sorcery points to summon 4 spirits. Alton, Guy, Emerald, and Gordon within 15 feet of you. I thought it was going to come full circle. The spirits last for 1 minute, act on your initiative, have a fly speed of 30 feet, and can each take 1 of the following actions. They can mentor, which will provide a friendly target within 5 feet advantage on their next attack. They have unstable herbs. All targets within 10 feet must succeed on a con saving throw or be blinded until the end of their next turn. Or they have hot pan. They make a melee spell attack against a target within 5 feet, dealing 1d6 bludgeoning and 1d6 fire on a hit. Now, the part that's missing on your PDF, it's also supposed to say you cannot summon these spirits until you have made 10 dishes again.
Oh.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
So there's
like
more of a
that.
cooldown on this.
That's a really good limiting feature. But this is also very funny too. It's very good.
Yeah, who knew the hospitable bloodline on the secret second page was going to turn into a summoning subclass?
I love it. I love it.
I was really stuck on what's a capstone here.
I really love this feels like it has support elements, which you often don't see in a sorcerer subclass. A sorcerer is often what you think of as like your very prototypical glass cannon. Like you're expecting them to do big AoE damage and like stay far away. I feel like this sorcerer like is sort of the expo.
Yes,
For those who
yes.
haven't worked in restaurants, like the expo is the expediter. It is the person who is making sure that the stuff comes from the kitchen in the right order and goes to the right places. Like they are the kind of go-between for everything. I did that job for a while. It's hard, but this does feel like this sorcerer is kind of taking that role and like moving everything where it needs to be, using the sorcery points to like make different things happen and give other people action economy and like do a little beefed up healing there, give a little bonus to a check or a saving throw or whatever here and there, which is really cool. And I love a subclass that supports a like a not necessarily typical play style for a base class. So I think that's great.
Similarly to Dan, it's such a funny subclass. And also incredibly useful, which I think, because it has to be produced for mass audiences, there's almost none of in the published material. And I feel like Dungeons and Dragons it's fertile ground for legitimate, funny content, and there's such a lack of that. And both of your subclasses tonight are usable subclasses. They're viable subclasses that will work, and are also entertaining to read through, and I'm sure would be also to play through. I like this a lot.
Don't count yourself out of that, Michael.
Mine was sure entertaining. I know that. It can be funny and also bad to play. Yeah, great submission.
Really fun.
Like it a lot.
Thank you, guys.
I'm always interested when we have a third voice here with us. I try and take stock throughout the week to see how that kind of affects what I will do, because I don't think I consciously try to make things that are different than Dan's, but it just has become what I've done now in the more recent episodes, where it's like we have now kind of found our groove when it's just the two of us, and we can assume, at least to a degree, what the other will try and do, or what they would typically try and do. And when there's a third creation in the mix, that kind of just throws that thinking out the window. And I'm not saying that's why I came up with something insane, but I don't know that I would have gone the same direction had it just been Dan and myself.
Sure.
So it was really nice to like have a prompt like this that is incredibly open, with a third perspective on the show. So I'm really glad that you were here with us tonight.
Me too.
Could not agree more.
So, Michael, that being said, is there something that you would have done had I not been on the show tonight in lieu of your burger class, subclass?
A good question.
That's an interesting question. I had an idea for a caterer type deal that really didn't make it very far. But the idea was that it was a fighter that gained like speed boosts and had like a little pile of treats that they could make in the moment, and if they were holding treats that they could move faster, and if they were actively healing other people, they could move without provoking opportunity attacks. And I thought that was kind of fun, but probably mechanically sound and boring to talk about. So maybe I would have done that, because I think there's probably something there where you're just like you were saying, Dan, like the expediter, when you are in that moment and you're like this is somebody's wedding. I could ruin their whole event. I need to rush, right?
Right.
Like having that type of idea was I was somewhere in that field, so maybe I would have done that. I'm glad I didn't, though.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't. What about you, Dan?
I mean, I think the best secondary idea that I had was, I mean, pardon the pun, but much more vanilla than what I actually came with, which would have probably just been, like a cleric of the hearth, specifically of like, somewhere between the College of Creation bard, the domain of life, and maybe some elements of some nature stuff, just leaning into just like home and hearth as a kind of concept, which would have been fine, but certainly a little less would have made for a less funny across the board episode for sure. I appreciate that we all came in with some whimsy today, which I think is it feels right for the situation. But I think there, like you say, there's just a ton of ideas within this space that's like there's a ton that can be done. It's a very open prompt. Food is a lot of things to a lot of people. There are specifics, there are different, Sometimes I come up with an idea and I just don't overthink it and just stick with it for a while and make it work.
Well, John, again, thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
And, taking your time on your flight to write this subclass. I hope you had a good time. I hope this was a good experience for you. At this point, we would normally be rolling for what we're making next week. Would you do us the honor of rolling a d20 on our large table of prompts for what Dan and I will make the next episode of the College of Creation?
Our fate is in your hands.
It would be an absolute honor. All right. We've got a 12.
A 12. A 12 is a prompt that I submitted.
Nice.
A 12 is making more divine rights. I can't remember what episode this was. Dan really had a home run. Back during episode 44, we were given the prompt to make some type of boost to spellcasting with a downside. It was a penalty to spellcasting of some kind, and Dan made a framework for what he called divine rights. And these are things available to clerics that are spell adjacent, but they seem more ritualistic. They kind of encompass larger scale magic, and I really like them. So during that episode, I added this prompt to the list, and I've been waiting to do it.
Okay.
For now 20 episodes.
Oh boy. John.
More divine rights, Dan.
I believe one of the ones there prevented all supplicants from revealing a specific secret. So as part of the rite, everyone had to be taking part in a secret. And at the completion of the rite, they were sworn to secrecy. And if any of them revealed the secret, they would die instantly.
Yep.
They had alignment requirements. I just remembered. Yeah. Required domains for your cleric to follow, potentially.
I'm going to make one for the dairy domain.
Okay. What will you have it do, Michael?
You have to eat ice cream every day or you'll explode. I don't know.
Also gives them lactose intolerance. It's a true test of faith.
Yeah. Eat ice cream every day or else you will become lactose intolerant and you can never eat ice cream every day.
Oh, no.
Maybe that's the thing. All of your supplicants are lactose intolerant.
Yes.
And you do the right, and it cures them of their lactose intolerance with the caveat that they have to eat ice cream every day. And then if they skip one day, then it comes back and it's way worse.
It's way worse.
It's just
just way worse.
It's way worse.
Just picturing posting that flyer through every town and village and everything you pass through in your world.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yikes. Oh boy. Well, I will be excited to see what we actually come up with, given a few moments to think about it. Well, grand stuff. John, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here.
Thank you both.
And we'll have to do it again sometime. Michael, do you have anything to say to the people before we say goodbye?
I do have something to say to the people before we say goodbye.
You might.
It's really short tonight, directly related to my creation. If you have something that's so dumb that shouldn't be published, make it anyway. If for no other reason than showing two of your friends and some listeners on the internet, and may it please be written off into the obscurity of the Nexus after this episode. But just go ahead and do it. If you have something dumb, follow your heart.
Amazing. Well, gentlemen, well done tonight. And folks out there, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us. And we will speak to you next time here on the College of Creation. Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.